Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's week 10, Waiver Wire Report with your host, me, JP, or DapScout on Twitter. If you haven't tuned in before, we go over 6 names that you should be looking at on your waiver wire to help fill in the gaps on your roster, whether somebody's slumping, whether you have somebody who's injured. And then if you want to get access to the entire report, become an all access member at fantasy6pack.net, where you can access the whole report, which has 20, 30, sometimes even more names of players that we think could fill in temporarily, could just be incredibly hot at the moment, or is amazing and you need to put them in now because I doubt you have a player that's better than the player we're talking about. All right, without much further ado, let's get into it with going back to somebody who I'm like, wow, I'm so glad to see this name again. I couldn't believe it. And it is MacKenzie Gore. Uh, Look, MacKenzie Gore was a top prospect for a long time. And Grant Paulson is calling this out great on his tweet here. MacKenzie Gore's a bad man. The Nats ace just delivered another good start. 5.1 innings pitched, 100 run, 0 walks, 10 Ks. His season ERA is now at 2.91. As a reminder, the Soto deal is gigantic win for revitalizing the Nats. Oh my goodness, are we talking Soto trade? Do you remember person who's watching this? Everybody that's involved in the Soto trade? I'll give you a second. Just take a second. All right. Well, here we go. Soto trade. The Nats got CJ Abrams, who's been doing fantastic for them, Mackenzie Gore, James Wood, who's a top prospect, and somebody who, if you're not in Dynasty, you might not know, Jarlin Susanna, who's a phenomenal pitcher and should be up as well here in the next, I don't know, let's say year or less. He's on my team in a lot of Dynasty leagues, so probably not going to be up for a while. But yeah, so at the time, I'll be honest with you, I thought, the Nats didn't get enough back. I mean, I thought CJ Abrams was, definitely the headliner, but I didn't think Mackenzie Gore was doing much because even though he had the pedigree, he just wasn't delivering. So let's see what happened here. We can look, right? So Mackenzie Gore, with he played for the Padres a little bit, and we need to really kind of pull up the minor league stats as well, right? This is a top pitcher. This is somebody who was, the number three pick in the 2017 draft for the Padres. He was considered he was going to come in and just blow things away, right? So 2017, his first year up, right? He only does 21 innings pitched, 14 Ks per nine. Great. 2018, only 6 innings pitched. Okay. And, I think he had a blister issue or something else that came up. 2019, okay, almost 100 innings pitched. Great. And we don't see any other issues here, right? He's doing double digits Ks per nine. He's keeping his walks down. And then 2020 disappears. We had some injuries and, of course, COVID year. 2021 comes back and we do 30 innings. And we start seeing this issue come up. This is the issue I was waiting to show you. These walks, right? 7 walks per nine, 8 walks per nine, 5 walks per nine. These control issues that were never something that we were talking about previously suddenly come up. So then he gets traded, goes to Washington, and everything goes down, right? His Ks, his walks kind of go down. So he almost we're almost starting to get concerned here. Is this really somebody that we should be looking at as a prospect? And then he starts showing out, right? He comes in, does 136 innings last year, not almost 10 Ks per nine with 4 walks. So again, the walk issues. The walks. We don't like seeing walks here. I hate walks. I want control. I can even put up with a little less Ks if we have control. And then this year, he's figured it out. I mean, maybe he's fully healthy. The ground balls, if you look, right, are almost in line with what he did last year. 38%. And the left on base is right in line. The BABIP is slightly elevated, which hopefully will come down as people get healthy around him and he gets better defense behind him. He drove the home runs out, and he's down almost a walk, a whole walk up per nine, and the K rate's back up. So he's back in almost every aspect, and I love to see it. I love to see somebody who has that pedigree that's really kind of showing out. Now, the one thing you want to look at here, right, is his ERA is almost 3. The expected ERA is almost a half run above it. So we are going to see possibly some regression there. But I mean, really, with all the injuries that are out there, and considering how amazing he's doing, he's not getting pushed. He might have an innings cap. So if we do 20%, you're looking at 170. That's still a full season. Look, I can't see a lot of red lights here. I can't see a lot of reasons for me to hedge. I doubt 100%. Without even looking at your roster, he's probably going to be better than your SP4 that you have on your roster, unless you're in one of those wacky team leagues where you're playing with your friends, or 10-team leagues. If not, MacKenzie Gore should absolutely be rostered on your team. Okay, so next up, and if you were here last week, this might look familiar to you, and I apologize because, frankly, I looked at his ownership, and look, I get it. I'm not the the big name. I'm not ESPN, but to see that his ownership barely ticked up drove me nuts. And so I said, I am absolutely going to talk about him again. Alec Marsh needs to be owned everywhere. It's crazy. Kansas City is not an easy team to beat these days, right? It just absolutely, they're doing great things. And I want to show you this. I love doing Rod Friedman, but I especially love it when Rod Friedman does the overlay. His slide, Alec Marsh's slider's wicked, and then you have your fastball. But I want to show you how hard it is for a hitter to decide between the two, because you don't want to chase that slider. He probably struck you out last time with the slider, so you don't want to chase it again. But let me show you how you end up getting kind of frozen here. So the first thing you're going to see here is there's the slider. Okay, all right, I'm not going to do that again. All right, here's the fastball, pretty darn close. Look at that. I mean, that late break. Oh, right there. Oh, and you have to decide. I mean, just give me a break. How are you supposed to figure that out? That's why hitting is such a. I don't know how these hitters do it. I'm gonna just be honest, right? That's amazing stuff. So let's look at Alec Marsh again. Now, he gave up 5 earned runs on the 27th, which is 4 days ago. How can you possibly talk about this guy? Well, let's talk about that. People get blown up quite a bit, right? And 5 earned runs, 2 home runs. We don't like to see that. 9 Ks, only 2.5 walks per nine. Okay, great. The BABIP, look at this, 0.188. Yes, he gave up 2 home runs, but overall, the batting average, you should have expected a lot less. Um, I don't know what else to say here. Let's take that as an anomaly, right? It's a central team. Maybe they're used to seeing Alec Marsh, but before that, 3 earned runs with 5 Ks. Before that, 1 earned run with 7 Ks. 1 earned run with 7 Ks, and that's against Seattle and against the Angels. Okay, look, I get the Angels aren't the Angels, but Seattle's decent. And then Toronto, who's having a horrible season, somehow he only does 1 strikeout there. But again, we're seeing 5 or more strikeouts. We're seeing typically, earned runs of 3 or less. This is somebody who needs to be rostered everywhere. I don't understand why he's not. It hurts my feelings personally. Please don't make me cry at night. And go pick him up right away. Okay, our second pick. And this is something that I wanted to touch on. For all the people out there who lost Trout, you're not going to be able to replace Trout with one person. We're going to help you replace Trout with 2 people. And the first person you're going to use to replace Trout is Kevin Pillar. And I love Fuzzy from YT on Twitter. Kevin Pillar and Ben Lively basically replacing Mike Trout and Shane Bieber have been one of my favorite stories of the year. Ben Lively, absolutely. We've covered him before in the waiver wire report. Love Ben Lively. But let's look at what he's done, right? So far on May 29th, just 2 days ago, but still pretty close. 6 home runs, 24 RBIs, a 1.041 OPS. Look, 900 and above on the OPS is insane. 1,000, especially in right around 85 at bats. That's still pretty darn good. 349 average. I'll take that all. I'll take that all day. Kevin Pillar at 35 years old. Look, it's gonna regress. He's gonna slow down. We'll show you here in a second. But right now, ride the hot wave. There's a couple different waivers that you're gonna pick up. Right, you're gonna pick up the people that need to replace somebody permanently that you set and forget. And I think that's going to be a MacKenzie Gore and Alec Marsh. And then there's people like Kevin Pillar that you put in your lineup and you ride because he's so incredibly hot right now. And there's absolutely nobody on that lineup that's going to replace him. He's not going to be part time, whatever. Right now, he is going to play for as long as he's hot. And then probably even after he's not because it's the Angels and they don't have anybody else to replace him. Get him right now and just ride it and enjoy it and don't question it. Because let's look at his right now. He doesn't have enough at bats to rank here. But the thing that I wanted to show you because I would show you the percentiles and things of that nature, right? He's still 81 percentile on sprint speed, so it's not like he's slow. But the thing here is the expected batting average is 261. I told you already it's 300 plus. Expected slugging is almost 400, which is pretty amazing. But the piece here is that I'm sorry, is the fact that he is hitting the sweet spot just like he did last year. 39.3%, 41.9%. I mean, you keep hitting that launch ankle sweet spot, and you're hitting it at 16, 17 degrees. Good things are going to happen. And look at this hard hit rate, right? Again, 32, 38 last year, 32. I mean, I'm not seeing a lot here that doesn't scream, I'm happy. Go enjoy some Kevin Pillar. Um, as well, Kevin was also on the White Sox earlier, and the White Sox were just a dumpster fire right now. And I don't think a veteran of almost 85 years, sorry, not 85 years, 105 years. No, that's not him either. I'm sorry. Uh, 35-year-old is not going to want to be amongst that. And frankly, I think he probably worked out a thing that look, I just don't want to be here anymore. And he went to the Angels and he found kind of he's rejuvenated either the weather or maybe the fact that the team has older players. I don't know what it is, or maybe Trout said, "Hey, take this amulet and you can be me while I'm gone." I don't know what it is, but Kevin Pillar has found the fountain of youth and absolutely should ride this wave for as long as possible. And 6 stolen bases. I mean, give me all of that for basically free on the waiver wire. Absolutely. Kevin Pillar is going to help you. Now, the 6 stolen bases is great, but how do we make up for and how do we get some additional stolen bases? And this is why I meant by kind of Frankensteining. I know Trout doesn't run as much as he used to, but let's look at somebody else that can absolutely deliver you stolen bases right now, today. And that is David Hamilton. Yes, sir. And Mike Curlin, somebody who's a frequent guest, somebody who we absolutely love to work with. David Hamilton, last 14 days. Now, this is 3 days ago, but again, pretty close. 11 games, 32 plate appearances. All right, stop right there. So he's a part time player. What am I doing talking to you about a part time player? Because when he plays, he absolutely will steal a base. So he's 10 for 333 batting average. That's not going to hurt you. A 1 home run, 3 stolen bases, and 5 total extra base hits with a 167 WRC plus. Look, the only concern is the short leash. Got it. But with injuries piling up, like Mike says, and he's playing well, he's going to get more playing time. And yes, he's only played in 33 games. And yes, he was in the minors, but look at that 9 stolen bases. 9 stolen bases. I mean, so for every 10 plate appearances almost, he has 1 stolen base. That's nuts considering as a part time player. And again, it's not too shabby either what he's doing here, right? He's 8% walk rate, 24% K rate, not great, but close enough. And again, he's able to kind of get the ball in play, get on base. So he's going to give you some runs. He's going to give you some I can't, give you some runs, 15 of them as well, and stolen bases. So David Hamilton's one of those people, especially if you're in a 4 outfielder league, he should absolutely be one of your fourth outfielders if you're having problems with stolen bases. He's not going to tank any of your other stats. I absolutely love this as a really sneaky play. And it monitors playing time, making sure he's playing at least 2-3 times a week. Even as a kind of a late fill-in, he might be in a designated runner or something like that. But this is a great sneaky pick that's going to get your league mates if they're not paying attention. Because who's paying attention to these part-time players who could quickly turn into a full-time player? And if he does, look out. Those stolen bases might really start shooting up as well. Okay, now to an oldie but a goodie. And yes, I'm going to pull up another trade here in a second. But let's talk about my favorite ex-Philly, because I was talking about Matt Vierling back when he was with the Phillies. I remember the waiver wire report back then, and I was like, this guy, Matt Vierling, no one kind of was paying attention, and he's just, every time he seems to be hitting a bunch. Well, let's first off talk about the trade. So the Phillies got Gregory Soto, kind of a, happy days there, right? Great closer. I think they enjoyed that. And Cody Clemens, okay, he was great at UT. And then Matt Vierling, Nick Matton, and Donnie Sands. Donnie Sands, by the way, sounds like uh, the secret identity of a superhero. Oh, well, Donnie Sands. You know. Anyways, Matt Vierling there for the Tigers, and Matt Vierling the last 4 games here, as MLB Network is pointing out. uh, 4 games, 9 for 18. Ridiculous. 500 batting average, right? 7 runs, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. Yeah, I think that will do. Right. And he also, in a lot of leagues, is dual eligibility, both outfield and third base. So that's also going to be your corner infielder as well. So let's look at what he's done. Again, I just, highlighting some of these Phillies years, right? That I was talking to you about. And he would, he would get hurt or he would miss time. And it was like, oh, Matt, ugh, please be healthy. And he was healthy last year, right? He was able to get 134 games in, and we had some middling numbers, 10 home runs. And whether or not he was completely healthy, I don't know. But that's not what we were expecting kind of previously, right? We're expecting somebody who could get in the 400 plus slugging percentage. And there we go. That's where we are now. His K rate is well in line with what he's been doing previously, around 21%. Walk rate is lower than what we've seen previously. But do you really want him walking that much when he's swinging this hot of a bat? I mean, 7 home runs in just under 200 plate appearances, 24 runs scored, 28 RBIs for a Tigers team that needs that power bat with a WRC plus of 129. Again, anything above 100 is amazing. And he's just doing it. I love Matt Vierling. It's somebody I've picked up everywhere. If you're in a 4 outfielder league, he absolutely needs to be rostered. If you're in a 3 outfielder league, he's probably a utility pickup for you as well. Considering how many injuries are out there, I love almost everything I see here. I don't see a lot of red flags here as well. This is somebody that you could probably roster for the rest of the year, or if he cools off considerably. But as things heat up weather-wise, age 27, we see a lot of breakouts in age 27 seasons. This is somebody who you absolutely should be rostering out there as well. Okay. This is a fun name. I love this guy. Spencer Schwellenbach. Look, Spencer Schwellenbach got to just live the dream. He just got called up. And Nick Pollock, somebody that we worked with in this preseason over there at Pitcher List. And if you haven't been to the Pitcher List website, phenomenal. If you are like me and you haven't heard of Spencer Schwellenbach because he's so Schwell, no, I'm kidding. Mid-90s heater with low release, filthy slider, 51 Ks and 45 innings pitched in 24 in the minors. 2 starts of 17% swinging strike. That's really good. And then I'd spec at him. So wait, hold on a second. Double A? Yeah, Atlanta called him up from Double A. He skipped Triple A entirely. So you're getting a chance to get a Atlanta Braves pitcher, which is always a good thing, for free basically, with some pretty good numbers here as well. Again, he's only had 2 starts this year, 11.77 Ks per nine, under 1 walk per nine. Love seeing that. 0 home runs given up, 200 BABIP. I mean, this would probably obviously level out, but again, his home runs per nine is close to 0 as possible. He doesn't walk a lot of people. I love everything about this pedigree. So this is one of those spec ads, right? This is like Nick was talking about. This is somebody that you add and then you kind of watch, right? If he might get sent down tomorrow, he might get sent down next week, but if you see him get named as a starter for next week, then add him absolutely. If you're one of those where you have to add waivers, you only have 1 waiver per week and Sundays, I would still pick him up depending on how bad your pitching is. With all the injuries out there, definitely Spencer Schwellenbach is the Schwell. I love doing that. Sorry. I'm entertaining me. It's a Schwell ad. But yeah, I just think this is a great thing to pick up here. 24 years old. Yeah, he's probably not going to have a lot to play here for. But again, if you quickly add this up, that's 80, 90. Sorry, that's 60. So 20%, you're looking at right around 100 innings pitched. So you probably have another, I don't even want to guess, but you have a little bit, but he's not going to play all season. He is going to be on a pitch count, but this is a great arm to try to play with, and I love it. So definitely go out there and add Spencer Schwellenbach if you see him announced as the starter for next week. All right. I said I was going to talk about another trade, and here it comes up. Ryan Weathers, Miami Marlins. Well, first off, let's start off with how great Ryan Weathers is being. Kevin Burrell, Kevin_Burrell on Twitter. If there's one thing about Ryan Weathers that stood out, it's how drastic his pitch usage numbers are on a start to start basis. Here are his last 3 starts. So let's look at this, right? So 39% in 2 starts ago. That's 3 weeks ago. 39% four seam fastball, then 32% four seam fastball, and then 39% changeup against Texas. Can you imagine you're going with, and then he did sweeper as his second usage with changeup right there. And then he switched the two changeup with almost 6 pitches more than the sinker. Sweeper disappeared was his lowest use pitch, and then sweeper went all the way down. I can't imagine trying to be a scout here and saying, "Well, this is what this guy is going to be doing." No, he's keeping hitters off balance and the scouts off balance with what he's doing. You love seeing this because if he goes through the second time through the order, the third time through the order, if he's changing it up this much and feels this sure of himself with different pitches, this really allows him to really play around with eye level, with where things are being located in the box, and really kind of allow him to do a lot of different things and keep hitters off balance. So I said, hey, let's talk about the trade first. What trade am I talking about? Just in case you don't know. Well, the Padres, sorry, Padres fans, traded Garrett Cooper. I'm sorry, acquired Garrett Cooper and Sean Reynolds from the Marlins in exchange for Ryan Weathers. Now, Garrett Cooper is at that time was 32, was a great left-handed bat that they could pull off the bench, and he's a pretty good slugging for first base DH type. I think at the time, 296 OBP and 426 at the time of the trade. But he was pretty solid, and they were going for it then. And they got Ryan Weathers out of this. Now, at the time, I was like, okay, Ryan Weathers, great. He definitely had some pieces to him that definitely screamed, this is somebody who I like. 7th overall pick in 2018. And let's look at what I meant by his pedigree, right? So in rookie ball, 8 Ks per 9, 9 Ks per 9, and then we go to triple A. Now he went again, COVID season, then 21 in triple A, almost 10 Ks per 9, and then 1.8 walks. And then he gets called up right to the majors, and he's obviously not ready. He's 7 Ks per 9 with 3 walks per 9. The control goes out the window. He starts getting up home run balls. And then we go back in 2022, back to AAA, and his K and walk starts going the wrong way, right? 6.44, 4.17 walk. He's lost absolute confidence there. And then he goes to the Padres and does the exact opposite of everything else. He's now walking people more than he's striking out. So per 9. That's not what he was doing in the past. He was a very good control pitcher, and he just kind of lost that piece. Goes back in the majors, and this isn't doing it. So again, he gets traded, and the Marlins. Look, you can have a lot of issues with the Marlins on a bunch of different things, but man, they if they get a pitcher, they can and he's healthy, they really can figure out ways to work with him. They start giving him confidence back. I'm seeing an expected ERA here of 4 right now. It's 3, so yes, there's gonna be some regression, but at the same time, he has continued to show that he has both the confidence back and the pedigree and the ability to do this over and over again. I'm excited about this. I'm excited that the Marlins are going to give him the leash to get this done and to go out there and to really kind of continue to dominate. If with everything that he's doing right now, again, I'm going to go back to his tweet. He is just showing you that he has 5 pitches that he could throw at any time, and he's going to change it up. He's going to make sure. I love that. I think he's really coming into his own right now, and I think this is somebody you could absolutely pick up right now and enjoy him on your roster for a while. I don't think there's going to be much of a downturn here with Ryan Weathers. Yes, there's going to be a blow up here or there, There is with every pitcher, especially one this young. But at the same time, I think Ryan Weathers is absolutely somebody you could pick up, set, and forget in your lineup for quite some time. All right. So I got to thank everybody for, again, tuning in. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, put them in the YouTube, put them in Twitter, put them everywhere. Listen to us on Spotify, everything in between. But again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for giving the comments. And again, thank you so much for helping me get better every week. All right. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.